Welcome back, dear friends, to the Crimson Academy's course on the Kitab-i-Iqan. In this section, we're covering paragraphs 147 through 148 of the Kitab-i-Iqan. His Holiness Baha'u'llah addresses two topics in these paragraphs. Initially, he explains how the Jews rejected Muhammad, since they believed Moses was the last prophet of God. His Holiness Baha'u'llah then explains the meaning of attaining unto the presence of God. Friends, we share with you some following key points from these paragraphs. The hand of God was not chained up to prevent him from sending another prophet after Moses, as claimed by the Jews. When opposing the Bab, the Muslim clergy unknowingly made statements similar to those of the Jews, claiming Muhammad was the last prophet of God. There are different meanings for the term lamp of God as used in the Baha'i writings. And lastly, there are various verses revealed in the Quran concerning the presence of God. The Jewish priests believed that there would be no prophet after Moses. This was one of their arguments for rejecting Muhammad. Baha'u'llah states in paragraph 147 that the following verse of the Quran has been revealed in response to this objection. The hand of God, says the Jews, is chained up. Their own hands shall be chained up, and for that which they have said shall they be cursed. Nay, outstretched are both his hands. At his own pleasure does he bestow gifts. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 5, verse 67. As pointed out by His Holiness Baha'u'llah in paragraph 148, commentators of the Quran have provided different interpretations for this verse. In Manhaj ul-Sadiqin, this is in Ishraq Qabari's Qamus-i-Iqan in Farsi, Volume 1, pages 114 through 115, the following interpretations are made of the verse, "The hand of God is chained up." God is stingy and provides our daily needs reluctantly. Another is, the hand of God is tied up to commit any torment and misery. And lastly, God will not unfetter his hand until he gives the kingdom of God to the Jews. His Holiness Baha'u'llah conveys the real meaning of this verse by citing the verse, "The hand of God is above their hands." And this is in the Quran, chapter 48, verse 10, from the Quran, and providing further elucidation in paragraph 148. The Jews believed that God's hand was chained up. Hence, he could not send another prophet after Moses, unless he would solely promote the interests of the Jewish nation, and he would establish the laws and teachings of Moses over the whole earth. In this verse, God states that the Jews were wrong, as the hands of God were not chained up. The Jews would be cursed for what they have said, and their hands would be chained up. Baha'u'llah then asks, how can the hands of the one who conferred the station of prophethood on Moses be chained up? How can he be conceived as powerless to raise up yet another messenger after Moses? Behold the absurdity of their saying, how far it hath strayed from the path of knowledge and understanding. such a suggestion is absurd. Baha'u'llah then compares the arguments of the Muslim clergy of his time with the claims of the Jews at the time of Muhammad. Despite reading these verses of the Quran for 1,000 years, the Muslim priests opposed the Bab with similar reasoning. They claim that the revelation is ended. The portals of divine mercy are closed. From the day springs of eternal holiness, no sun shall rise again. The ocean of everlasting bounty is forever stilled. Out of the tabernacle of ancient glory, the messengers of God have ceased to be made manifest. His Holiness Baha'u'llah describes these beliefs as foolish absurdities. In paragraph 148, His Holiness Baha'u'llah states that despite severe opposition against the Bab, the lamp of God, lighted through his revelation, cannot be extinguished since God protects his light. The term lamp of God has been used in the Baha'i writings in different contexts. The Bab states, "I am the lamp which the finger of God hath lit within its niche and caused to shine with deathless splendor." And friends, this is in selections from the writings of the Bab, page 74. This indicates that the manifestation of God and his revelation represent the lamp of God, established in every age to radiate the light of God over the earth and heaven. His Holiness Baha'u'llah expresses his astonishment at the fire which lights the lamp of God. "I know not, O my God, what the fire is with which thou didst light the lamp of thy cause, or what the glass wherewith thou didst preserve it from thine enemies." And friends, this is from His Holiness Baha'u'llah in Prayers and Meditations by Baha'u'llah, page 150. He then states, "Were fire to be touched by water, it would be instantly extinguished, whereas the fire which thou didst kindle can never go out, though all the seas of the earth be poured upon it. On the contrary, should water at any time touch it, the hands of thy power would, as decreed in thy tablets, transmute that water into a fuel that would feed its flame." And friends, this is from His Holiness Baha'u'llah in Prayers and Meditations by Baha'u'llah, page 150. Baha'u'llah describes allegorically the effect of persecutions and tribulations inflicted upon the cause of God. Tyranny against the religion of God accelerates its progress rather than halting or ending it. Baha'u'llah then describes the characteristics of the lamp itself. A lamp exposed to the fury of the winds must cease from burning. However, the lamp of God has been kept safe for so many years from the tempests that have continually been directed upon it by the rebellious. And friends, this is from Baha'u'llah in Prayers and Meditations by Baha'u'llah, page 150. This would be impossible without the power of God to protect the lamp. His Holiness Baha'u'llah metaphorically recounts the tribulations and persecutions that afflicted him and his cause after he declared his mission. Abdul-Baha has given a more explicit description in one of his tablets. Notwithstanding that the ruler of Persia and the Sultan of Turkey opposed the cause so violently, exercising tyranny and oppression, thinking to extinguish the lamp of God, yet this lamp day by day grew in radiance, its powers increased, and its illumination became greater until it reached such a degree that now its lights are spread throughout the world, even as far as San Francisco, which is very far from Persia. See what this will mean in the future. And friends, this is was from Abdul Baha in Baha'i Scriptures, page 373. While referring to the lamp of God, Baha'u'llah mentions, God hath made afflictions as a wick for his lamp, whereby earth and heaven are illumined. And friends, this was His Holiness Baha'u'llah in Baha'i Scriptures, page 76. Finally, in another context, Abdul Baha describes the covenant of God and his alliance as a lamp diffusing lights from the supreme concourse onto the horizons of the earth and heaven. And this, as I said, was from Abdul Baha in Tablets of Abdul Baha Abbas, volume 3, page 672. In paragraph 148, Baha'u'llah describes the recognition of God and attaining to his presence as the most excelling grace of God bestowed upon man. There are many verses in the Quran regarding attaining the presence of God. His Holiness Baha'u'llah cites 5 verses in this paragraph. The first, as for those who believe not in the signs of God, or that they shall ever meet him, these of my mercy shall despair, and for them doth a grievous chastisement await. And friends, this is from the Quran, chapter 29, verse 23. The second verse in the Quran regarding attaining the presence of God, they who bear in mind that they shall attain unto the presence of their Lord, and that unto him shall they return. And this is in the second chapter of the Quran, verse 46. The third is, they who held it as certain that they must meet God said, how oft by God's will hath a small host vanquished a numerous host. And this is also in the second chapter of the Quran, verse 249. And the fourth verse in the Quran regarding attaining the presence of God that Baha'u'llah cites is, let him then who hopeth to attain the presence of his Lord work a righteous work. And this is chapter 8 of the Quran, verse 111. The fifth is, he ordereth all things. He maketh his signs clear, that ye may have firm faith in attaining the presence of your Lord. And friends, this is chapter 13 of the Quran, verse 2. In connection with this theme, His Holiness Baha'u'llah cites 13 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 additional Quranic verses in Epistle to the Son of the Wolf. I will go through these for the Academy. First, it is God who hath reared the heavens without pillars, thou canst behold, then mounted his throne and imposed laws on the sun and moon. Each travelleth to its appointed goal. He ordereth all things, he maketh his signs clear, that ye may have firm faith in the presence of your Lord. And friends, this is in the chapter 13 of the Quran, verse 3. The second connection with this theme in the epistle to the son of the wolf is, to him who hopeth to attain the presence of God, the set time of God will surely come, and he is the hearer, the knower. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 29, verse 5. The third, and they say, what? When we shall have lain hidden in the earth, shall we become a new creation? Yea, they deny that they shall attain the presence of their Lord. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 32, verse 9. The next, they truly doubt the presence of their Lord. He verily overshadoweth all things. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 32, verse 23. The next one states, verily they who hope not to attain our presence and find their satisfaction in this world's life and rest on it, and who of our signs are heedless, these, their abode the fire in recompense of their deeds. And this is in the Quran, chapter 9, verses 7 through 8. The next states, but when our clear signs are recited to them, they who look not forward to attain our presence say, bring a different Quran from this, or make some change in it. Say, it is not for me to change it as mine own soul prompteth. I follow only what is revealed to me. Verily I fear, if I rebel against my Lord, the punishment of a great day. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 10, verse 16. The next states, then gave we the book to Moses, complete for him who should do right, and a decision for all matters, and a guidance and a mercy, that they might believe in the presence of their Lord. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 6, verse 55. And as mentioned earlier, these are quotes of Quranic verses in the epistle to the son of the wolf on the theme of presence of your Lord. In the presence of God, as mentioned. And prior we talked about the presence of God. So these, as we were going through, these are on the theme of the presence of God in the Quran, in the epistle to the son of the wolf. These are additional Quranic verses in the epistle to the son of the wolf. So let us move on. States, they are those who believe not in the signs of the Lord, or that they shall ever attain his presence. Vain therefore are their works, and no weight will we allow them on the day of resurrection. This shall be their reward, hell, because they were unbelievers, and treated my signs and my apostles with scorn. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 18, verse 105. Next, hath the history of Moses reached thee, when he saw a fire and said to his family, tarry ye here, for I perceive a fire. Haply I may bring you a brand from it, or find at the fire a guide. And when he came to it, he was called to, O Moses, verily I am thy Lord. Therefore pull off thy shoes, for thou art in the holy vale of Tuwa, and I have chosen thee. Hearken then to what shall be revealed. Verily, I am God. There is no God but me. Therefore, worship me. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 20, verses 8 through 14. The next states, have they not considered within themselves that God hath not created the heavens and the earth and all that is between them, but for a serious end and for a fixed term? But truly most men believe not that they shall attain the presence of their Lord. And friends, this is in the Quran, chapter 30, verse 7. What? Have they no thought that they shall be raised again for the great day? The day when mankind shall stand before the Lord of the worlds? And friends, that was a quote, chapter 83 of the Quran, verses 5 through 8. The 12th states, we heretofore gave the book to Moses. Have thou no doubt as to his attaining our presence? And friends, this is the chapter 32 of the Quran, verse 33. And the 13th Quranic quote on the same theme of presence of God in the epistle to the son of the wolf states, Aye, but when the earth shall be crushed with crushing, and thy Lord shall come, and the angels rank on rank. And friends, this is in the 89th chapter of the Quran, verse 23. The Muslim priests have rejected the real meaning of these verses and have interpreted them according to their own vain imaginings. Thank you, dear friends.